My work focuses on developing community health and wellbeing measures that are meaningful and accessible across different contexts, environments, and demographics. Too often, vulnerable populations have been harmed by measurement systems, standardized metrics that were once weaponized to justify displacement, exclusion, and even genocide. This history has created deep and justified skepticism towards data and evaluation processes. Yet, reliable metrics are essential. They enable government and non-government organisations to identify and respond to emerging community threats and to evaluate the real impact of their programs. Without credible data, effective policy and humanitarian action are impossible. In 2021, I established a research practice partnership that now connects over 500 civil society organisations worldwide. This year, our founding partner, the Centre for Conflict Resolution in Uganda, hosted representatives from the Global Partnership for the Prevention of Armed Conflict and Deakin for a 3-day workshop in Kampala. Our goal was to finalise our approach to capacity building and social cohesion through what I call standardised customisation, using consistent measurement frameworks that can be locally adapted. Current reputable metrics fail to accurately reflect communities not aligned to Western norms. Unemployment rate, for example, may be a reasonable representation of how well a community may access resources in a Western society, whereas this rate is effectively meaningless when applied to communities with few working in the formal economy. The idea is to allow communities to generate their own data, identify their priorities, and design interventions that reflect their lived realities, while still contributing to global comparability metrics. Our partners were involved with the framework design, providing pragmatic insights beyond those published in academic literature, to best understand how such a framework may be sustainably adopted across contexts, and to ensure it is accessible to varied populations. Greater consultation was sought as to the feasibility and applicability within the Ugandan context. The workshop brought together representatives from 5 Ugandan government departments, including the National Curriculum Development Centre, the equivalent of Australia's Federal Department of Education, and the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. Sessions were co-led by university, government and civil society organisational representatives. One session explored how on-the-ground peace builders may adapt context-relevant indicators towards the framework. An example provided was how they could gauge how secure a community felt based on the proportion of men who slept while wearing shoes, to be ready to react at a moment's notice. Another explored the considerations to launch and maintain the initiative within Uganda from a resourcing and responsibility perspectives. Who would fund this? Why would they fund this? Who would be responsible for the varied roles? How would this be best integrated into current legislative and political considerations? How can we ensure that these new capabilities are used for the public benefit? All questions we continue to explore and develop with our local partners. Together, we are building the foundations for a shared framework that empowers communities to define, monitor and meet their own needs. Only when people have access to trusted, locally relevant information can they take ownership of their futures. Our next step is to pilot this framework across Uganda and Australia, advancing our shared vision of evidence-based peace building and social cohesion.